What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video. And today we're talking about the camera system on the OnePlus 12. Can OnePlus finally get back to where I believe they were a few years ago? Ironically, before they started tweaking with their cameras through the Hasselblad partnership. Let's talk. Now, before I show you examples, photos and videos from the new OnePlus 12, which, spoiler alert, are stunning, I just want to give you a bit of context and background as to where OnePlus were and where they are now. So for those that don't know, OnePlus are owned by Oppo. Oppo are the parent company. They're all ultimately owned by BBK, I believe. But Oppo are the parent company, or at least the bigger brother, if you like, to OnePlus. Now, this is important because about 4 years ago, Oppo had one of the best flagship phones out on the market, in my opinion. The Oppo Find X2 was just groundbreaking. Its display resolution, the 5x optical zoom, and a few other features, the fast and snappy ColorOS software, and it was released globally. Something that we hadn't really seen, and actually haven't really seen much since. So the X2 was groundbreaking, and this came along at the same time as I owned the OnePlus 8 Pro. Arguably for me, at a point in time in history, the best and highest points for OnePlus/Oppo. A few months after that, there was a Hasselblad partnership, which the media, YouTube tech reviewers, myself, all thought, well, this can only be a good thing. Well, how wrong we were. For the next 3 years, Oppo and OnePlus just struggled to find their footing. Look at sales of the OnePlus 9, the OnePlus 10 and the OnePlus 11. Look at sales of the Oppo Find X3 and X5. Now, I'm not saying this directly correlates to just the camera setup, but if you're Oppo and you go from this 5x optical in the X2 down to a 3x optical in the Find X3, down to a 2x optical in the X5. Yes, folks, the Find X5 was a beautiful phone in ceramic and the display was class leading, but had a 2x optical zoom. Things weren't going right, and again, sales show that. And on the OnePlus side, the OnePlus 9 was a nice looking phone and I enjoyed that phone, but the cameras were not as good as on the OnePlus 8 Pro in my opinion. Then the OnePlus 10 and OnePlus 11, which were two phones I didn't actually keep or own for long at all. And that shows how much I didn't like them, because you know I love a phone. Now I bring this all up for context and background to show that this is where OnePlus and Oppo were. But with the release of the OnePlus 12 and last year's OnePlus Open, number 4 in MKBHD's blind camera test with hundreds of thousands of votes, or at least thousands and thousands, I'm sure it was hundreds of thousands of votes, 4th out of 20 devices, including the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the S23 Ultra, the Pixel 8 Pro, all those things, the OnePlus Open came 4th. There was also the Oppo Find X6 Pro, which included a 3x/6x optical zoom lens, hallelujah, and now we have the OnePlus 12. The OnePlus 12 has brought with it the same camera setup as the OnePlus Open, meaning there's a 50 megapixel wide, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, a 64 megapixel periscope zoom lens, which is 3x but 6x hybrid/optical as well, because it's a cropped image sensor. And you're about to see photos examples. What I want you to take note of though, is over the past few years, OnePlus and Oppo have clearly been working on the color optimization and the overall processing that the Hasselblad partnership, combined with their Silicon chips and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chips, it's all come together to me at the perfect time for the OnePlus 12 release, because the photos on this, between the main, the ultra wide and the 3x periscope zoom lens, the colours are immaculate. They're not oversaturated like the Samsung. They're not too sharp like the iPhone. They have struck the perfect balance. Now I've kept the watermarks here because it gives you an idea of the millimeter focal ranges on all the photos. So you've got the 23mm wide, the 14mm ultra wide, and then anything between 40mm 3x, 70mm 6x, and so forth. So I've kept the watermark there for your perusal. Now, the other thing that OnePlus have obviously had to focus on is the video side of the cameras. The videography is so important, and it's been so lacking recently. Again, if anybody's owned the Find X3 or the Find X5 Pro or the OnePlus 10 or OnePlus 11, you'll know what I'm talking about. Jittery, stuttery, unstable video, camera lag, shutter speed lag, just a lot of what feels like an unfinished product. I am delighted to say that I have experienced none of those issues on the OnePlus 12 so far. And trust me, if I had, you would know. Shutter speed, no lag. 4K video, smooth, 60 frames per second on all rear lenses, with the ability to not only zoom while recording, but pause recording. Folks, this is something that isn't included in a lot of flagship phones just now. You can pause your recording, then start again. Maybe a car goes by, you don't want it there, so it's handy to have that feature. Now there's 8K as well on the rear-facing cameras. I don't use 8K very often, but if you do, then it's there. And then in the front, I've mentioned this already, the base standard in 2024 has to be 4K. Now I would have liked to see 4K 60 on the front, however it's capped at 4K 30, but I'll take that it's 4K. And the front video shooter is 4K. To continue with the flagship specs on the OnePlus 12, interested to know how the mic sounds. It's quite a windy day here in Scotland, as it always is. But yeah, display obviously super bright, easy to see what you're looking at, and that was in direct sunlight. So yeah, 4K selfie camera. Now getting back to the rear camera lenses, we have to talk about this periscope zoom lens. It's the same as an exact same one lifted from the OnePlus Open, which is not a bad thing for me. It's actually unusual to think that a flagship device like the OnePlus 12 is actually lifting the camera setup from the OnePlus Open, a foldable device. All Fold fans know that that's never been the case. We have begged for some flagship cameras on a foldable device. So again, fair play to Oppo and OnePlus for finally giving us flagship cameras on a foldable device. Now this 3X, again, it's optical, it's stunning, it's perfect. Video, photos, perfect. Moving to 6X with that hybrid zoom, but because it's a crop, it's still optical. Colors remain accurate. Sharpness is there, but not too sharp, not too saturated. And if you are inclined to go all the way up to the stated 120x zoom, don't be prepared to be able to read anything, but I give this van as an example. From however far I am away, I'd struggle to know exactly what make and model of van this is, for example. But you can use a zoom lens to tell you exactly what make and model it is. What you can't use a zoom lens for is reading a number plate. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess. Now, another thing I wanted to highlight, because people keep bringing this up, one of my, if not my favourite phone reviewer is Ben's Gadget Reviews. You will have heard of him. I think like 70% of my audience watch his videos. I can see that in my analytics. So you know who I'm talking about. Recently, he has been absolutely singing from the rooftop the praises of the Vivo X100 Pro. I've reviewed that phone. I've done camera comparisons. And I agree with 99% of what Ben's saying. But there's one small issue for me when it comes to the Vivo. The cameras go from a 1x main right to a 4.2x optical. There's nothing in between. Now, the issue that brings for me personally is thumbnail photography, general portrait photography. You either have to be quite close to something or actually get too far away that it no longer looks too portraity. What I'm trying to say is with the OnePlus 12, the Samsung S24 Ultra, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, you've got 1, 2, 3x, 5x, 6x, and then digital stuff. The Vivo isn't using those crops to get a 3x zoom. It might get a 2x, but there's no 3x or 5x optical. And that's why I don't put the Vivo camera system up at the top like Ben does. He's not wrong. I'm not wrong. There's no right. It's all subjective here. It's a fantastic device at a great price. But if you are looking for a Vivo phone, you might want to hold on to your pocket for a little bit longer, because there are strong rumours with the pending partnership with Nokia as well that there will be a Vivo X100 Ultra Global Edition, which gets me quite excited. I know I'm sad. So anyway, all that to say that the OnePlus 12 has, for me, the correct focal lens to get good portrait stills and photography, and that's what I use it for mostly. Now I've got some more examples of the photos and videos, and I'll scatter them about here and leave some at the end. But I just wanted to make a dedicated video on the camera system itself, because in my first impressions, I deliberately omitted it because I felt that the camera system needed a bit more context and background and just a bit more dedication, because OnePlus and Oppo are really, really focusing on that area, and hats off to them. Now, I know you're excited for way more content on the OnePlus 12, the S24 Ultra, the X7 Ultra, the Honor Magic 6 Pro. It's all coming, folks. I even got one of those little gimbal things where I can have like 4 phones at one time. So I'm going to be making a really in-depth camera test, comparison, competition type video. And I'll leave it to you to do the voting. I'm not giving any of my opinions. You're going to vote on that. So if that interests you at all and you're enjoying the Average Dad content, please smash subscribe. If you've enjoyed this little dive into the camera system of the OnePlus, please let me know in the comments, and I'll do more about the backgrounds of phones. There's not enough of that. I made a dedicated Honor timeline type video and where Honor were and the split from Huawei. I enjoy making that content. I think ultimately I'd love to make like almost like 40-minute documentary type styles on specific Chinese manufacturers just to get them a bit more publicity. Companies like Apple and Samsung don't need that. So I'm not saying that OnePlus need my fucking documentary. I'm not saying that. But I enjoy making that content is all I'm saying. Anyway, I'm definitely rambling now. Thanks very much for watching. And until next time,